Good morning. Welcome to a Sunday edition of Morning Scone presented by Brock, Veterans Orthopedic Clinic, and Hudco Roofing, hudcoroofing.com. Hope your morning's off to a great start here on this Sunday. Olympics are underway in full swing. As we do this show, the U.S. basketball team is taking on France in their opener. Losing right now, by 2 with 44 seconds to play. See how that goes. Anyway, let me know. Are y'all interested in the Olympics? I'm curious how interested you all might be in these Olympics. That might determine how much I cover this on AFR. I don't know that there's a tremendous amount of buzz around these games, and maybe it's because of COVID and the lack of fans, and some of the athletes have had to opt out because of COVID, and it should have been last summer, not this summer. But I don't know. Just let me know how interested you might be. So I'll let you know. We're keeping an eye on that if that game goes final. The other thing is that A&M's athletic director Ross Bjork gave an interview to ESPN, and he said, I'm reading the quote, regardless of who joins the SEC, whether it's now or in the future, the 12th man is ready. Our teams are ready, our coaches are ready, our athletic department is ready to compete at the highest level. That's what the SEC is, that's what we are as a university, and we're ready for whatever comes next. So, of course, Ross Bjork was at SEC Football Media Days, which he was literally the only athletic director that was there. So with the benefit of hindsight now, you know that he knew that report was coming and was going to be there to address it when it dropped. And so he did. And his thing he said on Wednesday at Media Days was, we want to be the only school in Texas in the SEC. And now, 3 days later, he's not doing a full about face, but certainly saying we're not pushing back. So if anyone wondered if A&M was prepared to push back against Texas joining the SEC, A&M certainly doesn't have that clout. And for the big picture overall benefit of the conference, if expansion is the way they need to go, then expansion is what they're going to do. All right. Let's say some good mornings here. Jason Aguilar, good morning. Eric Hart, Jonathan Martin, Jamie Leday, Brian and Andy Penton, good morning from Bismarck, North Dakota. Steve Scott, good morning. I DJ'd 2 events, spending almost 8 hours yesterday. Ready to relax with some Sazerac ride. The Olympics today. Always go Tigers. There goes to Steve's ready for the Olympics. Alan Marrero, good morning. Hey, Brandon English, good morning. Sent you an email yesterday. Adeline ended up making the news for the basketball camp. Also, I have some bourbon samples to send you. That's awesome, Brandon. So I did see your email last night. I was going to reply to you today. Thank you for sending that. So there was a Hometown Heroes basketball camp yesterday, which was had a lot of current and former pro guys who came through Baton Rouge and Louisiana, a basketball camp. So, and Brandon, I mentioned it on air, and I think I shared it on social media and all. So, and Brandon's daughter went to the camp. So really cool. I'll reply to you, Brandon, here maybe when we're done. Hey, Dad, good morning. Paul Dykes, good morning. Eric, Sundays are for Ask E-Rock, right? Eric, I think so, and especially getting a little bit later start today. I think she and Drew will be up in time for us to do Ask E-Rock. And we did, as inspired by you all here on Morning Scone, Eric and I, after Drew went to sleep last night, did watch Weekend at Bernie's. Yeah, so I will not say any more. I will wait for her to wake up and come in here, and we'll talk about it. Tim Gotro, Trivia Carter, good morning. Cliff Nelson, Sean Hinderberger, good morning. Tim Gotro, not interested in the Olympics in years. Okay. Rap in batches, what's up? Jesse Brown, Matt, interested in the Olympics. Wish they had fans, but I'm watching. Tom Grandy, good morning. Rapping batches, y'all are tripping. I love the Olympics. Trivia, don't care about the Olympics. Robert Bosch, what's up? Good morning. Pat Huseman, good morning. Spurge, what are the determining factors for the pod selections? So Spurge, if you're talking about expansion in the SEC, there's no First of all, Texas and OU will have to be formally admitted, which they have not been yet, but will be. I think we all understand. There's no guarantee that they go to that pod format. That's just what's been suggested as a way to preserve some of the games that people seem to care about, like Auburn, Alabama, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, whatever. But also while making sure you don't end up with this awful format we have now where you can go a decade without playing a team in the SEC or at a place in the SEC. So the permanent cross-divisional opponent thing would be gone. It just doesn't make any sense to grow each division. Let's say if you move Bama and Auburn to the east and you put Texas and Oklahoma in the west. Okay, well, now you're talking about 8-team divisions. It doesn't make a lot of sense to have 8-team divisions, especially if you're going to keep playing 8 conference games. I don't know how they maintain that, because then you would have, if you had your permanent cross divisional, and then you rotated your other, you'd play the other teams from the other side once every 14 years. I mean, it's just so stupid. Like it doesn't make sense, that format. So I think so they would have to agree on a system. But I'll tell you this much: the fact that on the SEC network Thursday morning they showed that graphic on SEC this morning. They showed Peter Burns and Dorgan, those guys. The fact that they showed that as a possibility on the SEC network, I think tells you kind of what you need to know. Murder Giraffe, good morning. Matthew Pittman, good morning. Let's see, I like the Olympics. Badminton is the stuff. Murder Giraffe, the stuff. This is Morning Scone. We are a PG show here on Morning Scone. Tim Gocho, with super conferences becoming very real, do you think Notre Dame finally makes a move to join a conference full-time in all sports? I think they are headed for trouble eventually if they don't. Maybe, Tim, but here's what you have to keep in mind. As long as non-conference games still exist, which they will, there are programs that would schedule Notre Dame, absolutely. And if you're Notre Dame and you maintain your NBC deal, let me put this, all right, let's put some numbers behind this. Okay. So Notre Dame earned $7 million as a partial member of the ACC, and its deal with NBC pays $15 million annually. So Notre Dame made $22 million, while each ACC school full-time members earned an average of $29 million. This is according to an ESPN report in, what year was this? Where's the date line? Okay, 2020. So this was a year ago. So depending on what amount Notre Dame could get from that NBC TV deal, because I don't know when the most recent deal was signed. So hypothetically, if they were up for a renewal, Dang it, I'm trying to see when the renewal is. Anyway, when they're up for a renewal, that number could go up. And then also remember, if Notre Dame makes the playoff, they don't have to share that revenue with a conference. They could pocket all of their share, all of their revenue from the college football playoff. So there are benefits to independence if you can maintain it. And, Notre Dame doesn't necessarily need the money. But I also think it's one of those things where Notre Dame had its NBC deal in place at a time where not everybody was on TV. Well, now everybody's on TV, and conference rights deals have gotten so big that it could potentially, as you saw there, overtake what Notre Dame is making as an independent. So, will it happen? I don't know. It would seem like that's a decision a very political decision that would be made internally among decision makers at Notre Dame. But I definitely think would be benefits to it. Let's see, Father John David III. Good morning, Scone. Don't want to get back on the sore subject, but thanks for the words about the need for accountability for crimes. It's an important thing to remember. I'm grateful for your words. It's a necessary stance that deserves outrage when excuses are made, speaking from experience with the church. So, well, thank you. But so I do want to say, because so yesterday someone asked me about the comments I made on Chuck Oliver's show, comparing the current LSU Title IX situation to Baylor and Penn State, and I'm not backing off that, because while you can discuss the nature and severity of the crimes and the moral hierarchy, the bottom line is you had heinous activity happening, and you had coaches and administrators covering it up to keep players on the field, and that's not okay, and it'll never be okay. And somebody who brought it up yesterday on the show texted me on my text line after and was like, "Hey man, were you mad at me?" And I didn't. And if it came across that way as directed toward one person, that wasn't the intent. I promise you. But it's just my general overall frustration with this situation. I think that person was legitimately asking me not to be combative with my stance, but literally just asking to get information. But yeah, I'm just, I won't go down that road again today, but yeah, it's disgusting that these heinous acts took place on a campus. And you had the adults covering it up, making victims to feel like they're at fault, like whatever. And that's not okay. And there is no justification for it. And if you're an adult who's trying to excuse that away, then you're part of the problem. Charlie Pennison. Morning, Matt. I'm in Gatlinburg. I had my first run with the bear this morning. That woke me up quick. Dude, I'm telling you, man. Chris Williams, good morning. I mean, they are very unimpressed with people, those bears. Chris Williams, good morning. Hey, Chris, before I went to Hoover, didn't you email me or text me about something with HUDCO? I'm pretty sure I replied to you. I'm almost certain I replied to you. Get back with me if we need to follow up. Andrew Brister, I haven't even turned the Olympics on once. Brandon English, I've been watching the Olympics, everything I can, watching beach volleyball. Now let's see if the basketball game went final. Wow. The U.S. lost to France, 83-76. Man, the U.S. was a minus 320 favorite to win this thing. It's not to say they can't win it after losing the opener, but whenever Bradley Beal and Kevin Love both went out, I was just like, nah, man. It's the makeup of the team, the roster makeup matters so much, and international basketball has improved so drastically over the years, inspired mostly by Team USA, by the Dream Team, 92. But Yeah. I mean, you can't replace Bradley Beal and Kevin Love with Keldon Johnson and JaVale McGee and not feel that on your roster. So let's see. Eric Hart watching rowing, archery, swimming, women's beach volleyball so far. Let's see. What do you think about the Cleveland Guardians? It's sad, not interested at all, too political. Brian, I just don't care. Like, I understand your point. I'm you're just talking about the Cleveland Indians changing their name to the Cleveland Guardians. It's just not something that I'm going to get emotional about. I mean, it's a team mascot. If and the people who will say why are you offended? Well, if you're like who are you to tell someone? Who am I to tell someone what they should or should not be offended by? I mean, it didn't bother me, but I could certainly be understanding to another person if they feel like that was something like I know the Redskins, like when you're talking about slang terms that were deemed, like derogatory. I get it. I think the Indians mascot, I kind of get why that would, like the red face guy, like, yeah, I kind of get that. But then again, like Florida State is in contact with the Seminole tribe in Florida, and the Seminole tribe loves the fact that their heritage is remembered and sort of accentuated through Florida State athletics. So I don't know, man. I think there's points to both sides. I just that's just not the thing that I'm going to get super worked up over. Travis Lawrence, good morning. Preston Schulze, good morning. Jason Aguilar, I was very interested in the Olympics. Then they started all the crap. I'm not interested in Olympics or the NBA. They started all the crap? What crap? Paul Dyke, 0% interest in the Olympics. General Carson, good morning. Jamie Fortenberry, what up? Jamie, answer me one question, Matt. Okay. How did France get more NBA players in the USA? I don't think they have more NBA players in the USA because I think the whole USA roster is made up of NBA players. But France, I mean, really, when you think about it, if you can trace the success and popularity growth of international basketball to 1992 with the Dream Team. I mean, the Dream Team going over to Barcelona and that team being what they were, a worldwide phenomenon, it inspired nations all over the world and young people all over the world to want to play basketball. So, I mean, that's why you've seen such a growth internationally in the game, which I think is a good thing, but it certainly makes it harder to win the gold medal. But you have to have your best players willing to go play. And because of the timing, you don't always get that with Team USA anymore. But I'll salute guys like Devin Booker, Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton. I mean, they played Game 6 of the NBA Finals, and then on Friday they were on a flight to Tokyo. So, I mean, to go represent their country. I mean, quick turnaround, but... Let's see. As always, I'll shout out to Brock, Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic. Of course, Hudco Roofing, hudcoroofing.com. Matthew Pittman, love the Olympics. Haven't watched it all because of Team USA's disrespect for their country. What did Team USA do to disrespect the country? I'm really not plugged in. I mean, I kind of looking at scores and event finals and stuff like that, but I don't know what Team USA did to disrespect the country. I'm serious, I don't know. Excuse me. Dwayne Official. Can't wait until Texas comes to the SEC. Joseph Manzella, good morning. The Texas fan who called to AFR Friday unironically says Texas is back every year. Unironically? Unironically? Is there some irony in saying unironically? I think it'd be cool, though, having Texas in... Well, sure, I mean, look. I was thinking about this a lot yesterday because of some of the pushback that I've heard from fans about expansion and losing traditional rivalry games or whatever, things they want to see. Like... would you love, like, all right, think about it this way. Think about how excited we all get when we hear LSU has scheduled a non-conference series. Like, how excited we got whenever we heard about LSU UCLA. Look, I mean, how excited people are to go play out in the Rose Bowl. You got home and homes with Oklahoma and Clemson coming up. You got neutral site home and homes with Florida State coming up. Like, think about how excited we were when we heard those books. Now, what if those games were played as conference games? Like, I really don't think it matters. It doesn't mean any less. Like, you just want to see your favorite team play in these venues and have those teams come to your place. And regardless of if it's a non-conference game or a conference game or however the structure is, you just want to see LSU play big-time, meaningful games. And you're going to get that regardless of how it's classified. So I don't know if that makes sense, but I'm excited about it. The north, south, east, west thing is stupid, makes no sense. Directions make no sense. Geographic directions make no sense. I think A&M is scared. Recruiting will take a hit in Texas. I don't think there's any doubt. Like, A&M has benefited tremendously from being in the SEC. But I also think there is validity to the fact that A&M will have been in the SEC for more than a decade by the time Texas and OU join. And if Jimbo Fisher does this year, and A&M does this year what many expect or are predicting that they'll do, which is double-digit wins, maybe be in playoff contention. I don't think that, by the way. I'm skeptical about this A&M team. They will have a significant stronghold, A&M will by the time Texas comes in. I mean, I don't think there's any doubt if you look at the last decade of A&M being in the SEC, A&M's football program has been better than Texas's. They've recruited better. They've been to more meaningful bowl games, won them. Whereas Texas has hired and fired Charlie Strong, hired and fired Tom Herman, and now hired Sark. So we'll see. Spurge, I like the idea of pods, wondering how they decide which teams go into which pods. Geography, and then also, like, I would guess geography, competitive balance, and some rivalries. Like, there's a reason you'd put Alabama and Auburn in a pod. You'd put Ole Miss, Mississippi State in a pod. You'd put Texas and Oklahoma in a pod. You'd put Tennessee and Vanderbilt in a pod. Like, that does make sense. Florida would be the happiest with the pods. Dan Mullen would stop complaining. Hey, man, trivia. No one has complained more than LSU fans. For years, Florida has wanted to maintain that permanent cross-divisional with LSU. So you can't just say Dan Mullen would stop complaining, because LSU is the one that's complained the most and the loudest, and justifiably so. Tim Gocho, I like the pod idea much more than the current system. Me too. Let's see, I would hate not playing Florida and Bama every year. Yeah, but can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs, and I'm good with it. I wouldn't mind Brandon Reese wouldn't mind starting a rivalry with Texas and watching Texas A&M are doing their rivalry for sure. I mean, all that's like, look at its most basic level, all we really want is to see good football games. And if this brings us better quality games, us collectively, like as fans, better quality games, and we reduce the number of body bag games and the garbage that nobody wants to see, that's just a money grab, like, that's not a bad thing for college football. Like, college football got into this, call it a predicament, whatever you want, its current circumstance of NIL and the decentralization, all expansion, realignment, like all the things we're talking about. It got into this circumstance because of its blind unwillingness to evolve over time, marrying itself to the bowl structure, seeing revenues increase tremendously while basically exploiting its workforce. And I know a lot of people don't like it phrased that way, but that's the truth of the matter. I mean, they didn't find a way to continue I don't want to say compensated, because I don't believe college athletes should be paid a salary, because then you're basically employees and you have to unionize, and if you pay student athletes, then they don't get their scholarship. Like, I think there's benefits, but there's a happy medium, like the NIL stuff. But like the reason that college athletics as a whole, or college football is in the position it is because it stubbornly latched itself onto these antiquated beliefs. And ultimately we got to a point where the money was too big, the athletes had too much leverage, and they're using their leverage now. So good on them. And I think it's going to be good for the sport as a whole. I mean, people who are, emotional about the bowl structure, the bowl structure is stupid. I mean, it's pointless. How in the hell do you determine, like, bowls are a good postseason? Like, guys are choosing not to play in them. They're meaningless bowl games, and it's part of college football's history. But it's an awful part of the history because you went 100 years without having a legitimate champion because you had this stupid bowl structure where teams sort of just randomly got invites based on what dudes in ugly blazers wanted to pair together, and then pollsters got to vote to determine a champion. It's just stupid. It's basically why we're in the situation we are now, because the sport as a whole didn't evolve over time. Merrick Mathern, good morning. Like button smash. Thank you, Merrick. By the way, smash that like button if you're watching us there on YouTube. 57 watching, 28 likes. Let's get that number up. Thank you so much. Trevor, you can't laugh about the U.S. losing to France. Come on, man. It's still our country. Excuse me. It's going to be unfortunate for some of those Big 12 schools. That's true. But it's also, your value and your worth is what it is, man. Would SEC expansion hurt or help the AAC? I think it probably hurts the AAC because the Big 12 then likely looks to the AAC to add some of its membership. But the Big 12, the Power 5, as you know it, would no longer exist. Texas and Oklahoma leave the Big 12. The Big 12 is no longer a power conference, and they don't align themselves as such. Did you catch the Dillashaw fight? I did not watch it, but I did hear he won on points. Nice comeback. Brown Bear 765. We have the Olympics going just about 24/7 in our house. One of my favorite sporting events to watch. Interesting. Okay. Excuse me, y'all. Yeah, Kleenex. I took a Zyrtec D, so my sinuses are just like draining. So sorry for the sniffles and the grossness. Let's see. Julio Mendez, good morning. Hey, Scotty Mack, good morning. Kimberly Mueller, good morning. Mike D and Kimberly in the house. What's up, Mike? Is Mike D watching? What's up, Mike D? I don't know if he's watching with you, Kimberly. But if he is, good morning to both of y'all. Jamie Honore, morning, Matt. What the hell is Saints going to do a wide receiver? Time to make some moves. Jamie, I don't have a clue. I mean, I talked about this Friday on AFR with Mike Thomas's injury. I don't think you can afford a trade for a guy like Devontae Adams. I don't think there's a great free agent option available right now. Maybe you trade for a number 2 somewhere that you really like. The version of Emmanuel Sanders that could maybe step up and be a 1 while Thomas is out. I don't know, man. Jamie Fortenberry, 10 SEC games, 2 rental wins, and no Power 5 games. I'm not okay with that at all. Why do you want rental wins? Like, do you understand how, like, Jamie, do you understand how silly it is to lobby for rental wins? Like, do you wake up on a Saturday and get jazzed because LSU's playing ULM or Samford or McNeese? Hell no. Like, why do you want that? What? Like, quick poll. Who wants Renowins? Like, say, hey, yes, if you love the Renowins. Like, it's nonsensical. There's no point in that at all. Like, the only reason those games exist is it's a cash grab for the home team. It's a chance to have another gate receipt to where you can sell tickets and your seat licenses, your tradition fund, whatever, for another game, get more concession stands and parking and all this. Like, that's the only reason it exists. You're just conditioned to think that's how it should be when it shouldn't be that way. It's stupid. Nobody wants it. Let's have everybody play the Power Five. Only play a Power Five schedule so we don't have to watch garbage. Lenny Moss honk. Oh, it was like 20 minutes ago. Sorry. Are we going to pay part of the buyout so they can join the SEC ASAP? I don't think so, Jamie, but don't worry about Texas and Oklahoma paying the buyout. I think they're just fine. Mark, Delta variant going to shut down LSU opener in California? I don't think so, Mark. I mean, I was having a conversation last week, and there we go. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, that's cool. So Mark said the Saints signed a quarterback this morning. So I just looked up. So Brian Poole went to. Brian Poole's been in the division, hasn't he? Oh, Josina Anderson had it first. They expected to sign Brian Poole on a 1-year deal. It was with the Falcons, right? 3 seasons with Atlanta, starting 21 games. Boy, I tell you what, man, Sean Payton loves them NFC South guys. I'll take it as a stopgap. You needed one at least, so I'll take it. Todd Simmons, USA is terrible in basketball. No, they're not. You just got to get your best players to play. Well, the rest of the world has their best players playing. Chris Williams, you did send me your email address. I haven't had time to respond yet. I'll try to. Gotcha. No worries, Chris. All good, man. I was just making sure. I wanted to follow up. Will New Orleans get another minor league baseball team? Probably not. Will Max Johnson jump Miles Brennan? Maybe so. I'm going to talk a little bit about that on Monday on AFR. I want to think a little more on it. But Ogeron did make some comments at Media Days that made you think, like, maybe he's just going to settle on his guy, who might be Max, especially if Pete wants to run RPOs, because that's a Max thing. My feeling all along has been that Miles would take the first snap, but eventually Max would they both play. Max would likely take him over, but might be shifting. We'll see. Patrick Kason, good morning. David Wallace, good morning from Destin. Richie Burt, if Texas joins the SEC, does that mean LSU fans will get better seats next time we play in Austin? Actually, Richie, yes, that's a good point. Because the SEC mandates, I think it's 2,500 seats in the lower bowl. Or maybe it's not quite 2,500, but whatever it is, lower level seats in SEC stadiums. You got to get good seats. So maybe it's not 2,500, maybe it's 500 or something. But anyway, yes, as opposed to all of the LSU contingent being in the upper deck. Edward Washington, why doesn't LSU get Arkansas in their pod? Edward, to be clear, the pods haven't been created yet, but I'm okay not playing Arkansas every year. Chris Keller, Team USA Falls Frady, I talked about that a bit. Brian, do you know what they're going to do at Zephyr Field? Well, they're using it for the rugby team right now. The NOLA Gold plays there. So they do use it some for football. They convert the field, turn it, and play for football and for rugby. Is Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Missouri in a pod, a SWC pod? Kind of, yeah, right? That's how I saw it drawn up, yes. Brian and Andy Pitt, they need to bring back the Winn-Dixie Classic with UNO, Tulane, LSU, and Florida. I don't know if they can configure the dome for baseball anymore. I definitely remember the Winn-Dixie Classic, Brian. I don't know if they can configure the dome for baseball because especially with the field level suites they're doing now, I don't know if you could move the bleachers enough and have space to do that. I really honestly don't know if they could still do it. Andrew Brister, rental wins are only fun when the team getting pays to lose wins. Not when you're LSU and you lose to Troy. Brian and Andy Pitt and Will McNeese will be interesting. Son and father going against each other. But I mean that's a cute storyline, Brian. But the game's going to be awful. LSU's going to win that game by 100. Don't like him at all. Some players got injured in those games. Yeah, because it's football and guys get hurt in football games. Having it happen against a garbage team sucks. I mean, that happened to Todd Harris against Utah State. It was either Utah State or Northwestern State a couple of years during the championship season. Craig Tuca. Y'all keep saying y'all want to play Red Wings. Y'all forget Edward O is our coach. Troy ain't scared of Coach O. Troy. Stephen Fry, chance for players to rest and nurse injuries if need be because the SEC is day in, day out grind. Okay, Stephen, then how about this? Don't play the game. How about that? Let's contract the season. Instead, like we used to have 10 games, now we had 11 games, now it's 12 games. And the only games that have been added have been the garbage games nobody wants to see. Like, this is the point you're missing. I would rather go to 10 Power 5 games you don't need a conference championship game, but even with that and an expanded playoff, then 12 games, which included 3 absolute horse poop games that nobody wants to see. Like, that's the problem, Stefan. Like, you're buying into the narrative. Well, it's a chance to rest and but that's the problem. Like, they just don't have the game. The games are pointless. Like, nothing at all is proven by beating the hell out of McNeese. Nothing. Like, it's pointless. Nothing is going to be proven at all by LSU playing Central Michigan. All it is a chance to sell 102,000 tickets and notch a win. Like, that's it. Lance McPhail, do you think there's any merit to our 20-team super conference report that was out yesterday? Sure, Lance, absolutely. I don't think there's any reason to doubt any possibility at this point. Like, why not? I mean, they're going to go to 16. Why not 20? If you have the opportunity to solidify your standing with blue bloods of college football, and yeah, absolutely. No, Arkansas put the boot. It's such a big rivalry. Danny Braywick, first pro game I ever went to was an exhibition in the Dome. Yankees versus the A's. Got to see Ricky Henderson, Don Mattingly. That's cool. Let's see. Robert Boudreaux, good morning. Back over here to YouTube. By the way, if you're on YouTube, 65 watching on YouTube, thank y'all. Please smash that like button. If you're on your mobile, X out of the live chat, and you won't lose anything. Just X out of the live chat, hit the thumbs up, and then you just tap live chat again, boom, and the comments come right back. So please hit that like button. That helps YouTube show this video to more people and lets people know that you like it. And if you're on Facebook, please like the page, share the post, like the page. Oh, and if you haven't subscribed yet on YouTube, please do that as well. Where are we? Let's see. The North, South, East, West divisions is what I was talking about. That is stupid. What are you going to do? A 14 playoff for the SC championship? So I think you have to just erase from your mind what you currently think of the structure of college football. Like, don't think if you expand to 20 teams, don't think of SEC football as like just a conference. think of it like that's the league, right? I mean, imagine if it goes to 32, then like the SEC becomes 32 teams, hypothetically. I don't, again, like you have to be willing to like to do the little Men in Black laser thing where you forget what you've known for so long. Don't think of it like NCAA football, right? Think of it like SEC football or whatever you want to call it, where if you have 32 teams, it's the best 32 in the country, and this is its own league now. And everybody else can go do whatever they want. Go crown your own champion, yada, yada, yada. But if Florida State and Clemson and Ohio State and Michigan all come on board, then what's to stop Southern Cal and Oregon from saying, hey, we want to be a part of that too, what y'all got going on? And then you create this super league, and this is major college football now, completely disassociated from the rest, and they can go do their own thing, which is what I've been saying for years that I'd like to see. I mean, I don't think the Group of Five has any business playing in the same level as the Power Five. It's incongruent. Like, how can you possibly say that LSU football with $100 million in annual revenue is playing the same league as ULM or ULL or Tulane or Georgia State? Like, it's not the same thing at all, with resources and revenue and support and viability and all of it. Like, it's not the same thing. So that's why I've always pushed back against the Group of Five having an automatic bid into the playoff, when realistically the 30th best Power Five team is probably better than the best Group of Five team. So I can't justify giving them a spot. So go create your own championship. But they won't, because without the association with the Power Five, they miss out on revenue. I'm talking about the Group of Five. Because the Group of Five wants the body bag games, because that's how they fund their entire athletic department. And their opportunity to play those games against Power Five teams gives them exposure. And that's what they need. But my point is, if I'm the Power Five, it's not my job to fund your athletic department. So go away. Like, do like the rest of the world. Live within your means. Don't pay a coach $2 million if you can't afford it. Like, pay for what you can based on ticket sales and sponsorships and however you generate revenue, and go have your own championship. I mean, why is that a hard concept? Let's see, Pat Huseman, do you think the UT deal has anything to do with Longhorn TV, Disney, national TV spots? No, Pat, because the Longhorn Network really doesn't have distribution outside of the state of Texas. So that's not really a giant revenue generator. Like, the appealing thing, like if I'm the SEC, is you could take the Longhorn Network theoretically and turn it into the SEC Network alternate channel, which basically just runs a logo most of the day and sometimes has programming on it. Like, that's what I would do with it. Take Longhorn Network, put it on SEC Network alternate channel, and maybe drive a little more attention to it. You can have Texas games on there or whatever. And you immediately get more distribution for it if it's on the SEC Network alternate, right? But the revenue would have to be distributed evenly among the entire conference and not solely owned by Texas. So I don't think that's an all bad option, having the Longhorn Network. Just Texas can't just own it. How long until realistically Texas and OU start playing in the SEC? I think 2023. So not this year, not next year, but the following. I think 2023 is the target. Their current media rights deal goes through 2025, but I think they'd break that and each pay the $76 million penalty. I'd rather have divisions and add a couple of conference games to the schedule. Well, however you structure it, Brandon, if you're adding more conference games, like that's the objective here, is to make sure that you play an equitable amount of conference teams in a 4-year cycle. Like, the problem is, like LSU, Kentucky. LSU hasn't been to Lexington since 2007. LSU, Georgia. LSU hasn't been to Athens since 2013. I don't think they're scheduled to go again until like 2026. So I mean, you're talking about more than a decade before you make that trip. Like that's absurd. You play in the same conference, and you have 3 full recruiting classes come through and leave and never get a chance to play in Athens. Just it's silly. Bowl games are stupid and outdated, although I do love them. Playoff expansion is good for the players in the sport. Agree. Star Hill Stunners, please tell me there's not a legit quarterback battle in New Orleans. There is not. Also, everyone keeps thinking about football for the SEC expansion. Think how awesome it is going to be for baseball, softball, basketball, gymnastics, track and field. Yep. Although those aren't the revenue generators, but it's true. It'd be great to have those teams in baseball. Matt, is another COVID test in the future? You mean for me? I had one on Friday. I'm negative. Erica was leery because Drew, so I went and got tested Friday, and I was COVID negative. It's just an allergy sinus thing. I have no fever. I have no symptoms. I'm just super congested. So it's like a head cold. Do you think NIL had any influence on the OU Texas decision? No. Because it's a long term. I'll elaborate. Who's that? It was Scott Dickerson. Because it's a long term viability play, Scott. If you're Texas and Oklahoma, they are propping up the entirety of the league. I'll put you this way: if Florida and Georgia decided to leave the SEC, they're not going to. Just hypothetically. If Florida and Georgia decided to leave the SEC is still a viable mega conference. You have Alabama, LSU, Auburn, Texas A&M. I mean, you are still a viable mega conference, even if 2 of your strongest members decided to leave. That is not true with any other league. If Ohio State and Michigan left the Big Ten, you still have some really good programs therein. You have Penn State and Wisconsin, and it's a very good league. But the national appeal and brand name cachet is gone. If Southern Cal and Oregon left the Pac-12, I mean, Stanford and Cal and Oregon State and Arizona State, that's not propping up that league. So the same is true with the Big 12. Texas and Oklahoma leave, there's nothing there. There is no meat on the bone left. That league loses its value altogether. So, and those 2 schools know that they were propping up that league. And so when you're looking at long-term viability, they're better off, they're better off aligning themselves with a league where they can not be like the only 2 pillars upon which the league rests, but add to the viability of a monolith already. Trivia, Matt, you know how I feel about putting politics in sports. That was the one thing that everybody would put their swords down and enjoy something together. Now it's too divisive. You talking about Olympics or just all together? I'm with you, Trivia. I mean, I hate politics in sports. It's the thing where we can just put everything aside and just go play. Sorry, I know it's gross. My apologies. 2 days in a row now, I've wiped my nose on this. Let's see. Brandon Reese, I wouldn't mind playing 10 conference games. At least you'll get to see your favorite team play certain cross-division opponents more often. Yeah. Just do away with rent-a-wins. Do away with rent-a-wins, play more games people care to see. Ooh. Let's see, Brian A. Penn, are they going to have a Pontiff Classic there? Maybe so, Brian. That's usually not determined until the season starts. We're talking about Zephyr Field or the Shrine Airline. Jonathan, how long before Clemson joins the SEC? Clemson and Florida State were rumored to be interested as well, and I don't blame them. I mean, I think you're going to see the possibility of one giant mega conference. I think that's a very realistic possibility. Would Texas be allowed to have the Longhorn Network? I kind of talked about that a little bit already. Bama moving to the Sun Belt. Let's see, Lance, if you did that with the Longhorn Network, SEC Alt, would that lead to the Alabama Georgia Network? No, because there's no reason to do that, Lance. Or like that network is already in existence. And if you're going to build a network, then you have to build distribution. There wouldn't be cable providers all over the country that would care enough about an Alabama network. The SEC network, yes. And because SEC alternate already exists, as does the Longhorn Network, you could take that program and just put it on the SEC alternate, which already has distribution. It would be different just starting over, right? And remember, as far as those leagues or those schools, Bama, Georgia, the SEC owns their grant and rights, which means when all these schools sign to be a part of the conference, you sign all of your media rights over to the league to be part of the bigger package to then distribute. Bama or Georgia couldn't start under this agreement start their own network. When Texas and Oklahoma leave, does that relegate the Big 12 to the FBS? Does the Power 5 go to Power 4? Well, Big 12 is already in the FBS. Remember, that's the Football Bowl subdivision. That's the 10 conferences that make up the FBS, the Group of 5 and the Power 5. But Power 5 to Power 4, probably. The Big 12 would certainly not be part of any Power 5 conversation anymore. And that's, Richie, that's probably a better solution, is the Big 12 would probably dissolve. In the same way that the Big East stopped playing football. I think what would likely happen is you'd see the Big 10 and the ACC and the Pac-12 try to add members from the Big 12 that it felt were worthy. So, could Oklahoma State join the Pac-12? Could Kansas join the Big 10? Could West Virginia join the ACC? Stuff like that could happen. And so then the Big 12 would have the decision, do you dissolve or do the remaining members try to add schools from the AAC, for example? Would you add Houston or Tulane, or some people here yesterday mentioned Louisiana Tech? Maybe. But that's not, you're basically on par with what the American is now. You're not a power league. As always, shout out to Brock, Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic. After Hours Clinic is open today on this Sunday, so if you need an orthopedist, you can always go see Brock, Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic. And, of course, Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Always appreciate, man, our growth at Hudco this year has been awesome. So just so humbled by the amount of people who have trusted us. A company that's been around in Louisiana for 20 years, but in the Baton Rouge area. We are about a year old in Baton Rouge, but we've got the structure and systems and people in place to do awesome work, and we're just very, very grateful for everyone who's given us the opportunity. So as always, man, look, my neighbor across my back neighbor over there, their roof is awful. And I kind of want to go knock on their door and be like, hey, we can help you with that, but I'm not going to door knock. Because door knockers, nobody wants that. But they are my neighbors, so it maybe feels a little different. But anyway, just let us come for a free, no obligation inspection. That's how the process starts. HudcoRoofing.com. HudcoRoofing.com. Fill out the contact form. It'll take you 30 seconds. Someone will be in touch to schedule your inspection. You don't have to be home. If you're COVID very aware, nobody has to come inside your home. Everything can be done distance, so no worries at all. HudcoRoofing.com. Murder Giraffe, rental wins are always going to be a thing, I feel. I bet you're wrong. Hate the rental wins. Only like the rental wins because tickets are cheap. RT, this year's schedule is awful, except for Auburn, Florida, A&M. The home schedule, yeah. Tom Grant, OU women's programs are strong. Yep. With 2 less non-conference games, 2 less cupcake games to watch. Then again, I feel like I found Baylor, Georgia Sugar Bowl tickets for like $12 last year. It's because people are not super interested in bowl games anymore. Which, by the way, I like bowl games because it's more football. Like, I'm the kind of guy that I will watch Tuesday night Maction. I'll watch Wednesday night, Buffalo against Central Michigan. Like, I'll watch the Meineke Car Care Bowl just because it's on. Like, I'll watch football because I love football. But as far as trying to sell anybody on the value and merit of the bowl system, it's irrelevant. RT, where's your reading comments from? So I have Facebook and YouTube. For those that are new, I have Facebook and YouTube open. So I've got 2 different streams going. I have my Microsoft Surface, which is running Facebook, and my phone, which is running YouTube. So I've got 2, and I'm just toggling back and forth. I'm working on remedying this to bring all the streams under one platform with one populated comments feed so I can go through them all sequentially. But that's a big financial investment, and I'm guarantee has a setup already for that. And they want to bring Morning Scone under their umbrella, and if so, my thing is, look, let me build just the setup that you have, just build it at my house so I can do Morning Scone like that. Bring back JV games midweek. Walker Yaw, with the non-blue bloods ever leave the SEC? No. Why would you? I mean, it's the richest conference in the country. It provides you stability. Why would you ever leave? Star Hill Stunners, when will we see a Matt and Coach O interview? Probably never. He's got an open invite anytime, but I mean, I've literally sat in meetings where I've been told he'll go on anybody's show but yours. Like at media days. At media days, to my left was Nashville, to my right was Jacksonville, and then Chuck Oliver, Atlanta, and then across from me was Houston. And then catty corner was Knoxville. He did all of them except me. So don't hold your breath, Star Hill Stutters. Disassociating from the NCAA would be much better. I think that's going to happen. Like that's what Mark Emmert said a couple of weeks ago. He's like, when the president of the NCAA is calling for the decentralization of major college football, like that's telling you that he's throwing his hands in the air, saying, "Listen, we're trying to govern this sport, which is continuously changing and evolving. You don't like the rules we make, and it's even more difficult for us to enforce the rules we make. So just go do your own thing." That's basically what Mark Emmert said, and that's, I think, inevitable, especially with things like NIL here now. Let's see. Millerachi, do you think the best of the Pac-12, Big Ten, Notre Dame emerging in one league would rival a Texas OU 16-team SEC? That's what I would do if I were them. Like, their value has to be a super league in numbers. Like, if you take the best of the ACC, Big Ten, Pac-12, which remaining of the Big 12, and form one league, like, that's something that could be attractive to a TV partner where you had the whole of the country and not just the southeastern region. Yes, I think if I were in those leagues, that would be my primary option. Like, get Clemson, Florida State, Penn State, Michigan, Ohio State, Wisconsin, Oregon, SC, like all the big boys in all these leagues to form a mega conference. Like that's what I would. It's the only way you can compete with the SEC. Dion would definitely walk out of a conversation of a Power 5 only schedule. Do we see West Virginia go to the ACC? Possibly. Brandon Reese, I know this won't happen, but what about straight up 12-game conference schedule? 7 division, 5 cross division. Everyone has 2 bye weeks. You would see certain teams more often. I would be down with that. I think it would also depend on what you saw the rest of college football do. Because I think what you're going to have is some uniformity in scheduling, however it plays out. King Monk, how do you feel about Brian Poole signing with Saints? Talked about that a bit ago. They had to get a veteran. Sean Payton loves him some NFC South free agents from, Coleman with the Panthers. Curtis Lofton came over from the Falcons. Jameis came over from the Bucks. I mean, that he ain't scared to go sign dudes from the NFC South. It's dudes they've scouted, they know, they feel like knows the talent, the division. I mean, I like it as a stopgap. Thoughts on the name the Cleveland Guardians? Whatever. I think we always tend to react to something new and then we just get used to it. Like the Washington Wizards. I bet when they changed from the Bullets that wasn't super awesome and well received. I don't really remember, but you're just used to it now. Same with the Washington Nationals, when they weren't the Expos anymore. Can the NCAA reject Texas and Oklahoma joining the SEC? No, they cannot. The SEC would have to vote them in. The other SEC schools. Scone just jumped in. Can you refresh the story you heard regarding UT and OU? Is it definitely happening? So, I mean, it's not definitely happening until it is, but when they've been working on this for 6 months and you have the SEC membership open to it, it's going to happen. What seems likely is 2020, from conversations I've had, 2023 seems like the likelihood. So not this season or the next, but the following. And then that gets really interesting as far as what about Miami? Probably not. Let's see. Should have wished Tulane would be in the SEC. It would be great to have SEC and NOLA. They should have never left. Probably the dumbest move in the history of intercollegiate athletics was Tulane, Georgia Tech leaving the SEC. Do the non-blue bloods ever leave? Walker, I answered that. No. No team would ever leave the SEC voluntarily. There's too much money, too much stability. Well, UCF joined the ACC. See, that's another thing. Like, UCF, while they're in a major market like Orlando, it's kind of like Tulane in New Orleans. There's more LSU fans in New Orleans than Tulane fans. There's more Florida State, Miami fans in Orlando than there is UCF. Neely, hello. Who cares what the rest of college football does? We're in the SEC. We're basically the bad boys conference of college football. We do what we want. You'd rather definitely call your shot than have something like this dictated to you. There's no doubt. And the SEC is making sure they do that. Is the SEC going to call personal fouls with a horns down gesture? Kelly Gross, good morning. Brian, why won't smaller schools break away, have their conference? UCF could claim their natty. I mean, Brian, the problem is UCF could claim their natty. I mean, Brian, the problem is the smaller schools want to be associated with the Power Five because that's what generates revenue. Like UCF and ULL and Tulane and Southern Miss and name your directional school, whatever the group of five, like even collectively, there isn't an appeal for the, this is all about rights deals, right? Like, so let me give you an example. Like, let's see. All right. 2 days ago, the Sun Belt extended their media rights deal with ESPN. Their deal is let's see if they have the It doesn't say the value of the deal. Terms not disclosed. Damn it. Anyway, suffice to say that it's a fraction, probably like 10%, if that, of an SEC deal. Yeah. If the playoff expanded, would you be for them doing computer-generated selections with criteria? Or do you like the current way they're doing it? I would use the BCS formula, which had a mix of computer and and polls. The Hudco Roofing Independence Bowl. Unlikely. That was funny. Everyone knows Edo doesn't interview people. All right, let's see. Some of these are repeats. I like 2 16-team conferences use some bowl games for regulation. Is there a percentage less than 0 for A&M leaving? Pretty much. But watching all the consternation is hilarious. Kind of is. Could they set up leagues like soccer where there's a Premier League where teams can be relegated out of and other teams be promoted into? I don't think so. Matt, you've been in Monroe lately. ULM really needs so many renovations to their stadium. Yeah, I mean, no, I haven't. But, ULM it's one of the worst programs in the FBS. Some comments saying Vandy should leave. That'll never happen. It's not about being a powerhouse in baseball. It's just for being in the SEC, you collect a gigantic check every May. I mean, you have stability, you have distribution, you have revenue. No team will leave the SEC. Matthew Lustoff, this has been in the works for 6 months. Was the timing of the leak to poke A&M in the eye? I'm curious if, maybe, Matthew, or if A&M is the one that leaked it. If they got wind of it and leaked it. Because Ross Bjork was at SEC Media Days. He was the only athletic director at Media Days. And he was there almost like he knew this was dropping and was there to be the face of A&M's response. So I don't know why, if you're Texas and you've sat on this for 6 months and it seems like they were, from reports that I read, Texas and Oklahoma were prepared to let the rest of the Big 12 membership know of this in a few weeks, why they would keep it quiet for this long only to leak it now. So it does make sense that the leak came from A&M. Do you know what zip code has more season tickets for LSU, Baton Rouge or New Orleans? I would guess Baton Rouge. It would just make way more sense. Let's see. BCS is 1,000 times better than the committee. I agree. People crapped on the BCS a lot, but I'm not sure there was a year ever where the BCS got it wrong. They were just, the fault was that we were married to a 2-team system, and there were years where more teams were deserving of having a chance to play for it. But the analytics of the BCS model, using polls and computers, trying to combine the two to spit out a metric, I like that. Shocked it was kept quiet for this long, for sure. Matthew, makes sense. Jimbo had a solid, seemingly prepared response. A&M could be on board if given the opportunity to be petty. Sounds pretty Aggie-like. I hear Drew. Hey, bud. Good morning. Wow, it's 10 o'clock, Drew. Wow. Hey, babe. Are we doing Ask E-Rock?
Right now?
Well, I've been doing the show for an hour and 11 minutes already. Oh.
He's been on top of it.
Oh. If we're going to do Ask E-Rock, I got to plug in my phone because my battery's about to die. If y'all want to do Ask E-Rock, let's do it. Line up your questions. Let me get my phone plugged in real quick.
I'm about to go off. I was trying to go wash my hair for the last 30 minutes, but
Okay. Well, we'll see if we can do Ask E-Rock quickly.
nobody's on time.
All right, if you're down for Ask E-Rock, fire away. If not, we're done. Plug in the phone here, get some battery, make sure I'm back. All right, let's see. Plug this. All right. Excuse me. All right. It's always shout out to Brock, Batman's Real Estate Clinic. Let me know if y'all have got questions for Ask E-Rock. Oh, we do have some Ask E-Rocks. Let's see. Matthew Rudiger. I know Coach O will not do your show, but do you ever speak off air? Nope. Nope. Does that piss off Sankey that it Texas A&M leaked the info? We're assuming it was A&M. I really don't know, but that does make sense. And yeah, you always want to control the narrative when you can. You always want to be the one to release the information how and when you want on any given story. So yeah, I mean, of course, something that's significant, you'd like to call your shot, for sure. Let's see, Merrick, is that a signed Ben McDonald helmet? No, that is a signed Cal Ripken Jr. helmet. So I play as a young person. I played in our youth league at MBS, and we were the Orioles. So that coincided with Ben McDonald being drafted by the Orioles. So I kind of took an interest in them as a young person. And then Cal Ripken, of course, started his streak, or we started really paying attention to the streak. And so I got some Cal Ripken memorabilia. I got the autographed batting helmet, and I have a Cal Ripken rookie card. All right, we got some Ask E-Rocks. Okay. RT, ever think about making move to NOLA radio market, i.e. WWL? You and Mike D would be great. Use Bobby during the season. So RT, WWL has never approached me about working for them. I love the company that I currently work for, Guarantee, and I'm on in New Orleans. So I'm on 100.3, ESPN New Orleans. So I don't know that it would make a tremendous amount of sense. And I have a contract with Guarantee, and I'm very fortunate to be where I am and work for the great people that I work for, and an awesome company, and built a show that's had a tremendous amount of success. I'm very proud of what we've done at 104.5 ESPN, because we started from zero. I mean, I was there day one at ground level, and to see the growth over the last 11 years has been very rewarding professionally. With that said, I think you always listen. I mean, you always listen to anybody who wants to have a conversation with you. And some have, but I've never spoken to Entercom or WWL. Alrighty, Rock, we got questions. Babe. Jeff McKithen, what's up, man? Did they think leaking that would somehow stop the process? No. Sydney, I agree. Many thought it was wrong in 03 when SC didn't get in. Not that I agreed with that. I do agree with that. SC should have gotten in. Oklahoma's the team that should have been out. But why not a 4, 8, 12 team playoff then when they would have had an opportunity? Or 04 when Auburn was undefeated and didn't even get a chance to play for it. And there's plenty of examples throughout the years in the BCS. I mean, 07, Georgia certainly felt like they deserved a shot. Hey, babe.
Yeah.
You ready?
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, oh yeah. One minute. Do you find it strange Sankey's water was cut off the same day as the OU Texas news? I didn't think about it, but sort of. Preston Schulze, do you think LSU knew this text OU to the SEC talk when courting Mulkey? No, I really don't. I don't think that really has anything to do with it, honestly. If Brennan beats MSU and Mizzou, would there be such a division in who the fans choose? Yeah. Yeah. I think there's always that when you have a quarterback battle. And especially when you have two guys that are stylistically very different. Waiting on E-Rock, 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 waiting on E-Rock. What? He's watching videos that Santa sent him. All right, here comes. Here's E-Rock.
What's all this?
What?
What's this cord and all this stuff doing?
That's a power cable
But why?
charging my phone because my phone was about to die because I didn't charge it last night.
Oh.
Late night.
He was on top of me, like, on my head.
Yeah.
Like, that's not a cover. Like the last 30 minutes, I was laying there trying to look at my phone. Anyway.
Yeah, when I went to push his meds, it was going back through the tube,
Oh,
like through the.
okay.
And I was like, "What's going?" So I was, sometimes when they're older,
Where's
they're
the
like,
camera?
looking at me. So you're good.
Like, it's a little me right
But it
now.
was like the extension
Yeah.
was wrapped like a
Oh,
twist
God.
tie. So I had to go get a different extension, unbutton his jammies and put that one on.
Yeah, he was out.
Yeah. Okay.
Did you tell your friends what we watched last night?
I told him we watched Weekend at Bernie's last night.
It was so good. There's a 2. We gotta watch number 2. That one's like $15. But I think I'm gonna splurge. It left it to be continued. He washed up on that sand right there at the very end. And no one can remember how he was killed. Last time we discussed this. But they shot him with a shot.
That's not how he was killed. Oh, they shot him with a needle, yes. But they shot him at the end as well.
Yeah.
He was already dead.
How come there's no blood when they shot him?
Might have been.
I don't know. His clothes were still not bloody.
Ooh.
And I didn't know the 2 boys were supposed to get killed. I forgot all of it. I didn't even remember that part.
This is why you come to Morning Scone for the
Weekend
plot
at
summary.
Bernie's
For the
was
plot
so
summary
good.
of a 35-year-old movie.
It was so funny. They used to make good movies. They don't make movies like that anymore.
Hollywood is lazy now. Everything is like sequels or remakes of something or a live action remake of
That
an
was a good
animated
movie.
movie.
That was a good movie.
Yes, it was
If
awesome.
you've not seen Weekend at Bernie's in a couple of years, I suggest you go to Amazon.
You mean a couple of decades?
You go to Amazon Prime. That's where I found it. Because I had to search high and low for that movie. Amazon Prime had it. I think I paid like $4. And do we own it now? I own that movie.
Awesome.
I can watch it anytime I want.
I'm pumped.
Yeah. Okay. What's the question, Sam?
David Hawes asks Rock, favorite activity in Tennessee this year?
Sitting around the fire at our cabin with everybody.
Ask Rock, what's your take on the marinated carrots as vegetarian hot dogs?
I don't want a carrot marinated because then it's soggy, and I don't want a soggy carrot. So I want a crunchy carrot. So I don't want that.
Ask Rock, would you like marinated carrot dogs if your dad made them?
Well, if my dad made them, I'm sure they'd be phenomenal. I mean, people come to Drew's party for his jambalaya. Dr. Sanama said that's why he came. And my mom sent him in with a to-go box. Yeah.
Trivia Carter.
Hey, Trivia, good morning.
Ask Rock, any battles lately?
Oh, yeah, Trivia. Getting ready for that party. I mean, I had hot glue burns all over me. I had a lot of slicing of my fingers. Like my cauliflower, when I grated that cauliflower and I grated my thumb instead, look, I still have a mark there. That was like a month ago. So yeah, I've been a lot of cooking battles lately, like with knives and stuff.
Kevin Neely asks Rock, give me a horns down.
Is that a question?
Well, you don't. She just did this. It's this.
Oh.
It's not this. That would be like bunny rabbit down. This is horns down. Well, tuck your thumb in.
That is a very
It's
awkward
not. It's not
thing.
that. Tuck your thumb in.
That's awkward.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm glad we don't do that for LSU.
Okay.
Why does Texas do that?
Well, that's an insult to Texas. They do hook 'em horns. This is their thing.
Oh.
And so the insult to Texas is horns down.
Oh, that's what Joe Burrow's dad did.
That's what Joe Burrow's
Yeah,
dad
I
did,
like
yes.
him for doing that.
Ask Rock, does she watch any of the Olympics?
I will. Is it on yet? We
Yeah.
watched the opening ceremony. It was kind of sad.
I didn't really watch. It was just on.
Well, right. I don't really watch much except for Weekend at Bernie's, but it was TV's just on sometimes, and it's just in the background.
The U.S. basketball lost to France today.
They already played this morning. Wow.
Well, they're in Japan on the other side of the
How
world.
many times do we get to play?
I don't know.
Oh.
Ask Rock, should the SEC add another Louisiana school to the conference?
I don't understand this. That's what I was asking you the other day. How many people can come in the SEC? Aren't we big enough already?
As many as they want.
But then what if like everybody's in the SEC? Then who do we play?
Everybody in the SEC.
Is it good to have all these teams in the conference?
Make you more money.
Okay. Well, come on.
That's what I'm talking about.
Do they want to play Alabama?
Probably will.
Am I on the key on camera?
No.
I feel like I am.
You're not.
That phone shot feels a
The
little
the camera is there on the left side of the phone, and it ends at the helmet. Right there.
Oh, I am like,
You're nowhere close.
I was leaning in.
You're not anywhere close to the shot. Lean in because they can hear you better.
Why don't you have your microphone plugged in?
I don't know. That can only go to one source anyway. Lean back in. I promise you, you're not in.
Okay.
Promise.
Okay.
I think ULL would be good in the SEC. That's a terrible idea. Murder Giraffe.
Murder Giraffe is just being silly.
Like they got a 15,000 seat
Matt,
stadium.
don't even entertain that. He's being silly.
I don't think so.
No, he's being silly.
I think some people just legitimately don't understand how the nature of these things go. Ask you, Rock, would you go to the press conference and ask Coach O questions for Matt?
I hear he won't take your questions.
Well, I can ask at press conferences.
What if he doesn't take your questions?
Well, he's not gonna. It would be silly of him to like, if I had the microphone at a press conference and asked a question, which I've done plenty of times before with him. He just won't come on my show. Like
Yeah.
it would be silly of him to like cause a scene and be like, "I'm not answering your question," because then that becomes a story.
Yeah.
I'd ask a legitimate question.
Press conferences asking any questions because I don't like the spotlight like that.
Ask you, Rock, Johnson or Brennan?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like Johnson kind of shined last year, but you said Brennan's starting him. But I don't. You're wrong.
I'm just
now.
guessing.
And you also said you're wrong about something else.
What?
Taysom Hill's the quarterback.
No.
Yes,
Ugh.
babe. Did you see that article last week while you were out of town? Did you read that article? Sean Payton has picked him. I'm just telling you. I just want you to take that in and digest it. They said, I read it. They said Sean Payton is no longer a competition. It's Taysom Hill.
Okay.
Is that just a ploy? Is that just like a throw off? like a little.
You'll have to show me that article.
You didn't see that article? Oh, I
What
thought
was I
you'd be
doing
so
last week?
bad. Well, you're around sports.
Oh, it was around the SEC
You're around
football.
sports, getting sick.
I think it's too tired home. Does it piss off Sankey that A&M leaked the info?
Oh, it's not supposed to be out. I mean,
Somebody leaked it. Ask you Rock, Trivia Carter. Would you rather super speed or flight?
super speed, because that morning of Drew's party, I had so much to do, and I was just couldn't get it done. I'd rather be fast.
Or you could fly to work and never have to go into traffic. You just go.
I don't have traffic.
Or anywhere you
My path to St.
What about
Jude?
when we went to Tennessee? We could just go, just fly.
Oh, nice. Maybe I'd go back if we could do that. But I don't want to get on a big commercial flight.
You don't have to. It's saying you could fly.
Yeah. What about our luggage?
Just hold on to it.
I can't. I carry it. We got.
Or make a few trips.
Trivia: are we flying in a car, or are we flying just
Are you
like?
flying in a car?
Yeah.
Flying in a car.
Flying without a car?
Or flying in a plane.
No, I mean, like, if I could just fly there, am I flying in my car so it's holding all my luggage, or I have to carry it? Because I certainly don't want to be holding on to all that while I fly.
Got it.
I'd probably rather be fast.
Ask you Rock if her dad uses Bisquick or something else for pancakes.
Yeah, I think he uses Bisquick, actually.
Ask you Rock, will you watch Weekend at Bernie's 2?
Yeah, I'm going to now. After seeing how good one was. I mean, except you thought Gwen was hot, and I don't think she's hot.
She was a smoke show.
No, she was not hot, babe.
Smoke show.
I don't think so.
Smoke show. Ask you Rock, what
If you thought she was hot, now I understand why you think I'm pretty, actually. Because she's not hot. Okay, go.
Ask you Rock, what's the theme for Drew's 8th birthday?
Well, working on it already. My sis Lauren's trying to help already because my brain has to start thinking. I think about this for about a year. I don't know. And Matt has some idea, but he won't reveal it yet.
I got it. Not telling you yet, though.
No, why not? That's so aggravating. And you know what? You're lying.
I'm not lying.
Well, then write it down.
I have an idea.
Well,
If I
then
write it
tell
down,
me.
then you're trying to steal the paper that I write it down on.
Tell me.
But I do have the idea.
Okay.
I've got it.
Okay. Well, I need to know.
I'll tell you later.
Okay.
Ask
I'm
you
not
Rock.
sure yet, but Lucky 7 was the best party I've done. I feel like Lucky 7 had the most creative decorations. It was so fun. I mean, it was the best one.
Trivia Carter, Ask you Rock, when will I get my Drew Bucks?
Am I mailing those to you, Trivia? Just some Drew bills? Dollar Drews? Oh, Craig Schilling. That was the funniest video. See, I'm not on Twitter, so it took me a couple days to even see it.
He's got his own money.
That was
so good.
the bomb, Craig Schilling, if you're out there. I loved it.
Uh,
Trivia, I'll put some in the mail to you this week. But don't go try to use it at a store. They're going to decline you.
It's a Hershey bar.
No, there's no more Hershey bars.
Oh.
Just Drew bills.
Okay.
Hershey bars get all nasty in the mail.
Ask you Rock, pods or liquid laundry detergent?
Oh, pods. 100% pods.
Ask you Rock, does Matt ignore the YouTube chat on AFR on purpose?
Oh, I have no idea. I don't like YouTube. Matt loves it. I don't.
No, on AFR. And to answer your question, Murder Giraffe, yes, I do. Because it's the same component of the huddle, what it used to be. So I don't pay attention to it. Like, it's not even open. I don't even have it open during my show. So if you want to communicate with me during the show, I would suggest email, Twitter, or text. Ask you Rock, do you think Max Johnson throws the ball weird?
No, I think he does awesome.
Um,
Well, is there somebody else that came to LSU to try to be the quarterback? Some, like, smart guy? Did I hear that? No, I had a dream, I think.
some smart guy?
Who's the new quarterback? Or who is in the competition?
Well, Nussmeier is the freshman.
Him.
Okay,
Is he going to be good?
I think so. In time.
Okay.
Ask you Rock, do you think Matt... Oh, I did that one. Ask you Rock, is it too early to start Christmas shopping?
No, it's never too early to start Christmas shopping because you know what? Right now, Hallmark has Christmas in July and they have Christmas movies on all night. So when I get in the bathtub very late lately, put on a good Christmas movie. Yesterday morning, I was getting ready to go to Alexander's and Rouse's and run all my errands, and I had Christmas movies on. They were so good. There's a little princess, and she don't want anybody to know she was a princess. She works in a Christmas shop, and then her cousin's boyfriend's a news reporter, and he was after her to out her. It was such a good little show. Happy show. You don't have to think. You don't have to get upset. There's nothing to turn your head about. So yeah, you can always do Christmas. Drew's watching Christmas videos right now. For Drew's birthday, he got some singing snowmen from Roro on eBay. Yeah, we love Christmas here.
How about Scone after Saints games? Sazerac has a sponsor. Moscona equals modern Buddy D.
No, we don't need you after a Saints game. You're terrible. You've scared the children. My nieces and nephews get very worried about you.
That was one time.
Well, because they're only around you the one time. You don't ever watch Saints games with anyone. It's because that was one time they were with you.
Ask Rock best.
Dude, you're yelling to your hands. Everybody's making fun of you that night.
Ask Rock best.
Matt, we still hear you.
Best 80s movie and song.
Best 80s movie? I go on Bernie. Bernie was phenomenal.
Best 80s song.
Oh, give me some choices. Anything with Tiffany was good.
I just introduced my kids to Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey and Dumb and Dumber.
Oh,
What about Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure?
I didn't like that show. I
I
like the Mamma Mia song, but that's
Best 80s movies, Christmas Vacation. I agree. That's one of my all-time favorites.
yeah, I like all those. I do.
Don't push me down, Quack.
I don't know how like you say all the lines. I hate watching a movie when someone's gonna recite the movie, like show it off, like I know all the. It doesn't matter, you know all the lines.
E-Rock didn't. I'm surprised E-Rock didn't already have Weekend at Bernie's on VHS. Ask E-Rock what movies do you have on Betamax?
I don't even know who that is. You old people. Tomorrow's work, Matt. Back
Ask
to
E-Rock,
work.
are Drew Bucks cryptocurrency now?
They could be.
Ask E-Rock, best Christmas movie.
So many. Any of them. I can't pick. Because any of them are happy. They're light. They're just good.
Ask E-Rock, Travis Laurent, what do you think of Matt growing a stash?
I don't like any facial hair. But guess what? Matt doesn't care.
Ask,
Like if Matt told me he loved my hair blonde, I'm not going to intentionally go out and dye it black. But that's basically what's happening here. Right?
no,
Yeah.
I'm not doing this because you don't like it.
It feels that way.
I'm doing this because I like it. I don't feel good with a toilet seat around my head and a fat face. I don't feel confident. I don't like it. I don't like the way
Fat
that it looks.
face.
I have a fat face.
So why are you putting hair on it then?
Because it covers my fat face.
Really?
Yes.
That's the reason?
I like this look. Makes me look tough too.
No, it makes you look mean, like you're going to punch somebody. And I think you've gotten more mean since you've done that look.
Maybe so.
Yeah. Less patience.
How about that? Samuel Sparks says, Matt has the perfect beard genetics.
Oh,
Even if you
gosh,
don't like it,
Samuel.
you can't let that go to waste.
Oh, Samuel.
Trivia Carter, Ask E-Rock, best horror movie.
I don't watch them. Don't watch them. Get scared. I even got scared in the movie Scream with the fake stuff, and it was all just fake. Was that fake? Scream was fake?
What was a movie? I mean, there was
I
a
don't
guy.
like horror movies.
Ask E-Rock, if you could live anywhere outside the U.S., where would it be and why?
Oh, no, I'm not doing that. No, I don't want to go outside the U.S. I like here. I like our house.
I could visually see E-Rock flying like Mary Poppins.
With an umbrella. Oh, yeah, no, I'm not going to fly. I'd rather be fast. I don't want to fly. I don't want to fly. I don't want my feet off the ground. Even trying to do my schoolwork, my work yesterday, I sat at the bar, and I wanted my feet on the ground. I had to come sit at the table in here.
Wish Matt and E-Rock a blessed day. Peace out. Thank you, RT. Have a great day.
Thanks.
All right, John Boudreaux, ask E-Rock. Matt likes facial hair. E-Rock does not need shaved legs.
No, I want to shave legs. I just think it's gross. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. Like, it hurts. Any of you out there that have wives or girlfriends or whatever, secret lovers, They don't want that prickly stuff on them.
Well, some ladies like it.
I don't. It hurts.
ASCII Rock, best Hallmark movie.
I mean, any of them. They're all the same, everyone. They're all the same. That's why I love them.
ASCII Rock, Lifetime Network, or Bravo?
Bravo. Lifetime's dark. Lifetime has like the, you sleep with the babysitter and someone's gonna murder you. Lifetime is dark. I mean, it's all somebody's cheating, somebody's gave you up for adoption, and then somebody's gonna come back and steal your baby and all that. I mean, Lifetime is dark. Bravo is great. We love Bravo now in this house. We love our millionaire show.
$1 Million Listing.
Yeah. Below Deck, I want to get into. Matt refuses, but I'm going to start watching it. I don't know when, but I'm going to.
ASCII Rock, favorite reality show.
$1 Million Listing. It's the only one we know.
Do you like New York or LA better?
I mean, it's been so long since we've had LA. I love New York. I love my New York people. I love Ryan, Sirhan. I love Frederick. Is my favorite.
Oh, Frederick.
Love me some Frederick. Whee! Yeah. So I like New York because I guess we haven't seen LA in so long.
We haven't seen LA in a long time.
And they said LA was going to be coming out this summer, but I mean, summer's over. Work starts tomorrow, everyone. Blah.
ASCII Rock, HGTV or Food Network?
I don't really watch Food Network because, I don't know. I don't like cooking shows. So probably HGTV. I like house shows. But I don't ever watch TV, like, ever. I've never, like...
Never, ever.
I just don't, I never have time. I watch the news at, like, 5:45 a.m. and then on repeat at, like, 11 or 12.
I think we're done. Thanks to everybody who watched. Merrick III said, E-Rock, watch Below Deck. It's really good.
I'm going to. I just don't know when. I don't have time, but I'm going to. But I want to recommend to everyone to go check out again Weekend at Bernie's. It's funny, it's good, it's hilarious, and I just don't think that movie got enough credit back in the day. And even though you think it's all about a guy who's dead, there's a lot of other little funny things to it, and you won't remember. Like, I didn't remember any of that movie other than like him doing like this, Why did we even start talking about Weekend at Bernie's? Because of Drew?
Because Drew, like...
Whenever Drew has his meds, yeah, he starts like, yeah. And what I like about Weekend at Bernie's, you're not grossed out that he's a dead guy. Because he's not really dead.
Well, he is dead.
It's a movie. He's not really dead.
He's an actor playing a dead man.
Right. So he's not dead.
They didn't go, like, get an actual...
Full-on dead guy.
They didn't get a corpse to play the role of Bernie in the movie.
Right. So it's really good.
Because that would have been really bad.
So I suggest, if anybody needs something to watch, go to Amazon Prime, get Weekend at Bernie's, and you will laugh. You laughed a lot. You did not want to watch my movie. You're all, pouty about it. And then you laughed and laughed and laughed.
I don't think I laughed and laughed and laughed.
Yeah, you did.
I think you laughed and laughed and laughed.
Just thinking about it makes me laugh.
And I was just happy that Gwen the Smoke Show was in there.
You're saying that's rude.
I'm just prodding you, Erica.
Oh, okay.
ASCII Rock, Total Recall original or remake?
I don't know what that is.
ASCII Rock, best thing about Weekend at Bernie's.
I think that that everybody's so friendly. Everyone was very friendly in that movie. With all the traveling parties, except for the guy trying to kill him.
Mm-hmm.
But, and I totally forgot about him lying about living in his parents' house and then his dad coming in there while they were like making out on the couch. I don't know, it's just funny. It's a very funny movie.
ASCII Rock, favorite Olympic sport?
Gymnastics.
Matt, who is the Smoke Show Weekend at Bernie's? I don't even know.
Oh, Matt's got a new girlfriend, sounds like.
Erica, that was the movie was made 32 years ago, okay? The woman's probably 80 now.
Yeah, go look.
Christ almighty.
Look up your Smoke Show, babe.
I'm just being a contradictory to your point because you thought she was so ugly.
I didn't think she was so ugly, but I was just like, do you think she's hot? Like Jonathan Silverman? Who was that? Who played that role?
Yeah.
He was like, couldn't even talk in front of her because she was so hot. But I was like, they could have found a hotter girl. That was my whole point.
think.
Okay.
Just when I think we're done, trivia adds another one.
Just when you think you're.
I'm proud of you. I actually use a streaming service.
Trivia. I use all kind of stuff for Drew. I know how to find everything on the internet for Drew. But I also know how to get DVDs for Drew.
All right.
You know?
I think we are now done.
Because if we were driving somewhere, we couldn't watch Weekend at Bernie's if there was no reception. You needed the DVD.
Thanks to everybody for watching.
I'm going to wash my hair.
Please Facebook, like, page, share the post. Of course, if you need North Peach, go to Brock. You need a roof, you call Hudco. Have a great Sunday, everybody.
So pretty.
It is. Bye.